What's up? It's gonna be a lot report. We never really started doing our introduction anymore.
You want to do the introductions?
I'm Mike Lewis, the genius, the editor, creator.
Let's save that for the season, huh?
Yeah, but I think the people watching this right now know who we are
Or listening to this.
on Spotify. So you get it. So I guess we don't have to really do it anymore. But BLR report. Um, you're outside. Watch the last video. We're here in the same spot.
Yeah.
Doing the same thing. Same clothes.
Different days. No.
Yeah, I wore the same clothes for the straight 3 days. All right.
Yeah, we haven't showered or nothing. We're gross.
No, we got a week of 80-degree weather. So screw it.
So we're gonna go over some free agency signings.
We just covered the draft. So
Positional battles and how the roster's really gonna be looking. Going into this off season / upcoming season. We got some tough ones, some weird ones that we got going on right now. I think personally,
like, all right. You know,
we have all new quarterbacks.
Right, quarterback.
All new quarterbacks.
I don't think there's a question as who the quarterback's going to be.
It's Baker Mayfield, obviously.
Yeah, when you sell the whole future for a guy, and you pay him $250 million guaranteed.
230.
230.
Still a ton of money. But
and you're banking that he doesn't get suspended.
And you still have Baker Mayfield at this moment. You still have Baker Mayfield on your roster. You got rid of Case Keenum, traded for a 7th-round pick.
Picked up Jacoby Brissett.
And
a very cheap deal. Love it.
Yep. And Josh Dobbs. Picked up. So we are all stacked up on quarterback. And obviously you know who's the starting quarterback when available. We don't know anything about that at the moment. But obviously it's Deshaun Watson. Running back. We have 5 current running backs.
Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, Dearnette Money Johnson.
Yes, sir.
Jerome Ford, and then Demetric Felton, which I think we consider a receiver now.
Yeah, at this point, I think he plays...
Considering how the receiving room's looking. So let's just skip to that.
Yeah.
I don't think there's much to talk about the running back room.
Because I think we're going to have those 4 guys, right, where I think Jerome Ford's going to be a project guy. I don't think he's going to start much or play much this year. And I think he's going to kind of play what Demetric Felton played last year. But now Demetric Felton, I think, is such a gadget person that he's going to play both and in between. But receiving is huge, obviously, because we are looking at a completely revamped receiving core. We don't have, obviously, last year, coming into the season, we had Odell Beckham, we had Jarvis, we had Higgins, we had DPJ, and Anthony Schwartz. Totally different story now. We have Amari Cooper, DPJ, David Bell, Anthony Schwartz, Michael Woods II. Am I leaving Jamarcus Brantley. Am I leaving anyone else out?
And the undrafted free agent, and Isaiah Weston, I believe. I believe he comes out from South Dakota State or North Dakota State.
Oh yeah, I did.
Or is it Iowa Western? I'm not sure. I know they wear purple.
Some small school. Yeah.
They play in single A.
He's got to. I actually watched his tape. He actually looks pretty solid. So I'm kind of interested.
Good size. I'd say.
Yeah,
I like it.
Yeah, it'd be an interesting prospect, but I still want another veteran that we can bring in. I'm still pulling for like Emmanuel Sanders.
I'm really gonna break the news to you, but what it sounds like right now, reports per Mary Kay Cabot, that the Browns are probably not going to add another receiver. Their talks with Jarvis Landry broke down.
They seem pretty dead.
They offered him a 1-year deal and he turned it down. Apparently there was a lot of 1-year deals that he had put on the table for the Browns, and they were just not into them.
I wonder how much they are.
That's a lot of hearsay. So I don't know. It's a rumor, and it's hard to tell.
But like post draft, where are you gonna go for less than? You're not gonna get more than $10 million. I know he wants probably what he was gonna get with the Browns, but he's not gonna get $10 million.
But I want you to think about the pick of David Bell. David Bell is a guy that can do the same thing. He's younger. He's
Yes.
going to be cheaper for you.
By a
Um,
long shot.
And Jarvis had obvious
Yeah.
injury problems the last couple of years.
Yeah.
And
But
it's very painful to say that, but
yeah, I love Jarvis. Wish the best of luck to him if he doesn't end up signing with us. But really, I do think we need one more guy though, because
I'm in for it. I think Will Fuller would be a great pickup, or um,
injuries again, man. Emmanuel Sanders, bro. I'm just saying he's gonna be real cheap. And he's a nice guy that can be opened up downfield.
yeah,
I think he'd be
or
awesome.
even Cole Beasley. I think would be a nice pickup, having another slot receiver.
I agree.
But
Because that's the only position we're looking kind of weak at. I mean, I think you can kind of start stacking, right? Where you
I
got,
think I think though the better pickup, if they were to go pick up a veteran, would be Will Fuller because they need that speed that can take it off the top. But I think they're really banking on Deshaun Watson to bring, you know, life to this receiving core.
yeah,
Um,
little magic.
right, like he can lift up their production, which sometimes that happens. Um, we've seen what Will Fuller did in Miami, and it wasn't that great. But when he was with Deshaun Watson, he was putting up top 10 stats.
Sean Watson, Tua.
Right. Or Sammy Watkins when he was in Buffalo didn't have a quarterback, goes to Kansas City and he's got 1,000 yards a year.
Exactly.
Um,
Yeah.
and then you saw him go to Baltimore and
Yeah.
1,000.
I think a weird outside of receivers. I still think we need one more person in there because I think DPJ good. Solid enough guy to play. You got obviously Amari Cooper, our best guy, obviously right there. David Bell, and I don't really trust anyone outside of those three. And that's a rookie coming in here. I don't trust Anthony Schwartz. I just don't. At this point,
Yeah,
he just seemed scared the entire year. Anytime he'd run downfield, he looked terrified. So I'm nervous.
I
I
think
need one other person.
I think it really tells you what they think of Baker Mayfield, um, or what they thought of him. That he couldn't really lift his teammates.
No.
Um, this is a top 10 quarterback that they're bringing in here, and people just got to accept where they're at as a team. Um, if this is what they put out on the field, I think it's still good enough. I'd feel more comfortable with a veteran receiver.
But if somebody gets hurt, what's happening?
Well, I'm sure they'll probably bring somebody in, but right now I think this is what we're going to deal with for now, and just hope that that's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And I feel like that could happen. I would say, this is one of the better receiving cores Watson has had. Um, with or without DeAndre Hopkins. Um, the numbers he put up in 2020 were still pretty damn good. Without Hopkins. And then you have, let's see, the tight end position.
That's the one I'm excited to talk to you about.
I was really surprised what they did. What they didn't
do. Yeah.
I thought they should have went tight end in the draft.
I really wanted.
Or even pick one up in undrafted free agency.
Well, that just tells you that we're not going to run those. A lot of tight ends, like those 3 tight end packages.
I really believe that this offense is changing because
yeah.
One, we're deeper at the receiver position. The quarterbacks are all somewhat mobile.
Mm-hmm.
The trading of Case Keenum kind of changed it all there.
Yeah, there's going a completely different direction.
Yeah, I thought it was a good point that was made that they dropped Case Keenum and they brought in Jacoby Brissett. Case Keenum, you're expecting him to play the West Coast offense under center. Brissett, you can kind of expect him to play in the shotgun a lot.
Yeah.
And I think when you look at a team and you think about what kind of offense they're going to run, I think you have to look at the backup quarterback more than the starter.
Well, kind of like look at the Ravens. They got rid of what was his name? McSorensen?
McSorley.
Yeah. And then they had Huntley. I mean, it's literally Lamar Jackson, 1.0.
Right. Or even look at Pittsburgh. Look at what Pittsburgh's doing with their quarterback room.
I mean, Kenny Pickett and Mitch Trubisky are like the same people.
So who's the odd one out in that picture? It's going to be Mason Rudolph.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that person.
Yeah,
That man.
it's one. You have a quarterback battle over there in Pittsburgh, so it leaves Mason Rudolph out. He's the odd man out there. The style of offense they're going to run. I like the pick for Kenny Pickett, but I think they're going to still stick with Trubisky for this year.
I'm so happy they got Pickett. I'm so happy. He's going to be amazing for them.
I'm telling you, keep making fun of the Steelers. We're going to be making a video, some 30 weeks from now about us bitching about Kenny Pickett torching us. I promise you it's going to happen.
Dude, I really hope not. I gladly eat my words. I don't think that's going to happen. But
Until we beat them 3 times a year, I do not want to hear us dog them. That's that. I'll talk my shit when I need to, but it's not Steelers week.
well, it's Steelers week for me every week, and I hate them. Fuck them.
But back to the point here. Tight end, very shocked that they didn't do anything there. They didn't add another guy. They're sticking with Njoku and Harrison Bryant. They picked up a college basketball player.
I did see that.
That is a very interesting thing.
Yeah. Antonio Gates.
I'm all for it. I like testing things.
All I'm saying is Antonio Gates, dude.
Yeah, it's one of those things you never know what's going to happen. He played football in high school, so it's not like completely out of his DNA.
Yeah.
But it's not. There's no risk to it. It's a guy you give him a chance to see what he can do. There's nothing wrong with that. He could be a star. If he sucks, goodbye. And that's that. I still think they could add a veteran like Darren Fells, or even Jared Cook, like I've been saying.
I'm saying it too. Out loud.
The style of tight. That's another position. The style of tight end. You can really tell how they're going to run an offense by the kind of tight ends they have.
Yeah. Bigger dudes that can block.
Offensive line, I think they are literally, where they need to be.
Yeah.
They didn't have the depth they had last year because there's a lot of injuries. You have Chris Hubbard back. Jack Conklin will be back. Nick Harris is starting at center. You brought in Ethan Poicic. You brought back Blake Hance.
Yeah, we're looking solid on the offensive line. We have a lot of more depth pieces than we did last year. As I said, you saw one guy go down, 2 guys go down. We're playing guys that are just no good.
Right.
And in different positions that they're not normally used to. So yeah, I'm really happy with how the offensive line's looking right now. And I think Nick Harris is going to be really good as well. I watched Building the Browns episode 3. He's already put on like 20 pounds since last season of muscle. His strength and conditioning coach was.
I saw that.
He's looking much bigger, and so I'm really happy.
I think there was a big point of emphasis on Nick Harris.
Yeah.
And his film from the Christmas game against Green Bay, where he looked really sharp. I got a lot of confidence in him. You spend a 4th round pick on a center, and you let him develop. You let him sit behind J.C. Treader. He got a lot of playing time in his rookie season. I thought he played pretty well. He didn't have to play that much this year. The game he did have to play, he looked really good. So I don't think it's going to be much of a drop off from Treader.
Yeah.
And
Treader's a really good center, but
yeah, Treader was a really good player for us. But having a younger guy with a cheaper contract is kind of a no-brainer.
you do.
And you spend a pick like that, you expect them to be something.
Yeah.
So I think they got a lot of confidence in him. You have the best offensive line coach in football, so you got to stick with their opinion there.
Speaking of lines, let's hop over to the other side, defensive line. How are we looking?
That I think we need to bring some veterans in, specifically a defensive tackle. You had Perrion Winfrey. You brought in Taven Bryan from the Jets, a former first rounder. Oh, he went from the Jaguars to the Jets, I believe.
I picked him up from the Jags.
Well, no, I know they were with.
Two bad teams.
I know he's
Fine.
with both of them at one point, but and then you got Jordan Elliott still, Sheldon Day, and Tommy Togiai. A lot of guys that haven't proved anything. Um, you're really hoping that Perrion Winfrey is going to be that guy. Um, you're hoping that Tommy Togiai can take a step and be that nose tackle for you. That's something that they lacked.
We definitely need we need a veteran presence, somebody
Right.
that is like so. Some of the that can really kind of mentor a lot of these younger guys, but also just like
Right.
show up and just play well because we've had so much bad luck the past how many years.
And there's two names that come to mind when I think of bringing in an older guy. One of them is Akeem Hicks
I like that.
from Chicago, really solid Pro Bowler. I think would be awesome.
And hey man, we got 24 million
That's-
left in our cap.
Next to
just
Miles
saying.
Garrett. For now, you can take off that 18 and a half eventually, and you can take off that 9 come June 1st from Austin Hooper.
18 and a half is dead money though. But that's not even that's not including the 18 it's 24 so it's like technically in the 30s.
Right.
So we got a lot of money left to play around
Right.
with.
So you bring in Akeem Hicks. I think he would fit really good with Miles and Perrion Winfrey. Perrion's going to play that 3 technique.
I feel like
Tackle.
I feel like a lot of the defensive line is really we're waiting on Jadeveon to make up his mind.
Exactly, and I want to stick on the defensive tackles because I really thought that was our problem last year.
Big time.
They were solid in the pass rush, which is fine, but they lacked in a run game, which I think that's a problem. And Hicks would have been a great pickup there for that. Another guy is someone you want to bring back. A familiar name, familiar face, Sheldon Richardson. An older guy that can kind of play nose tackle, can play the 3 technique, can mold these younger guys. I think he would be a really good teacher for Perrion Winfrey. I would love to have him back. Definitely missed him. I think it would be a great pickup, and it would probably be a pretty cheap deal.
Yeah.
He played really good with Minnesota last year.
Yeah.
Then finally,
better than he played with us.
Finally, another familiar face, Larry Ogunjobi.
Played solid enough with Cincy that one year.
Right, and I don't see anything wrong with bringing him back. A young guy, but he's a veteran. He can play the nose. He
He's
can
only
play
what,
the
26 now, right?
Right. Still a big guy, and he did really good with Cincinnati before he got hurt. But as far as defensive tackle goes, I think that's the one position I think they'll address before the season starts. But I think they're waiting on Clowney.
Yeah.
But over the defensive ends, talked about in our last video, we brought in a lot of rookies to play kind of all different styles of play. You got your star in Miles. You got a young guy that kind of can mirror what Jadeveon Clowney brings to the table. Not saying that he replaced them, but this is going to be his future replacement eventually. But looking at what we have now, I still think they need to add another defensive end, whether it's bringing back Clowney or looking to bring in Jason Pierre-Paul. I know Jerry Hughes just signed with Houston. You got Melvin Ingram out there. I still think you bring in a veteran there at defensive end. But I still think that I think they're comfortable as a team knowing that it could be Clowney that comes back.
I think he will. But, I mean, that's hearsay.
But there are reports right now that they're kind of far apart on how long the contract is. I think he wants a 1-year deal, but the Browns kind of want to have a 2 to 3, so they're not in the same position that they were last year.
Interesting.
But I think they're going to be able to offer him more money than he did last year, considering how well his numbers were.
Yeah.
Moving on to linebacker, kind of the same linebacker room minus
Mac Wilson.
I thought they could bring in somebody else, but you get Tony Fields back from injury. He didn't play at all last year. kind of interested in seeing what he does.
Yeah.
I'm not going to call him a bust yet because he hasn't even played it down yet.
Yeah.
Not even in preseason, so that's yet to be seen.
I expect JOK to make a pretty big leap.
Um, I mean,
He's awesome.
He was
He
awesome
was
last
awesome.
year.
So
There's,
I think he's going to be the staple that we saw last year. But I think he's going to even be better and really take more of a leadership role on this team.
I think Anthony Walker is going to take a big step forward this year.
I'd hope so.
Um, you know, he still led the team in tackles. He was one of the top tacklers in the league, believe it or not. Um, you know, he was kind of iffy in the past game. Um,
Yeah.
I don't really have much more to say about the linebacking core because it's the same thing, and we've talked about him over and over again. It's kind of ringing the old bell.
Yeah, I agree.
I think the secondary is where we stand. Um, you know, safety, you're sticking with the same guys.
Yeah, brought back Ronnie Harrison.
Ronnie Harrison, which I thought was a real big surprise.
I was very surprised he's back.
I think they wanted to bring in another safety, and it just got too expensive.
I mean, I'm guessing he wasn't expensive.
Right.
I don't know what his contract looks like, but I'm guessing he wasn't like a lot of money.
Right. When
After last year, I mean,
I forgot who it was. He signed with the Eagles, and it was just like kind of the same value as Ronnie Harrison, and it didn't make much sense to sign a third safety to a big contract. So bringing back Ronnie Harrison makes sense for your three safety sets that you want to run. He didn't play much last year, so you can't really put a lot on him. I think he's going to give us a good run around this season. You still have Delpit and John Johnson. If those guys can stay healthy, I think they're going to have great seasons. Richard LeCount.
I was gonna say Richard LeCount. I mean, when he played, he was Marvin. What are you doing? Like when he played, he wasn't bad, in my opinion. I mean,
Right.
for a rookie, he wasn't too bad.
Right. I'm sure we're going to see more of him as the year goes on.
Yeah.
And then finally, corner. We traded Troy Hill to back to the Rams.
Yeah.
I brought in Martin Emerson. Now I just thought about this. Them sending Troy Hill could be one of two things, or both. One, them wanting to bring more versatility to the cornerback room, or they really believe in AJ Green.
I mean, I think you should believe in AJ Green.
Right. I think he had a great season.
If he makes another, even a 10% jump from what he did last year, I'd be happy. I think that's a starting caliber corner, and I'd love to see him around here for more. And I think they do believe in him. I think they believe in a lot of these guys, really. I mean, you think they still have Greedy, which I think.
I mean, look how they paid Denzel Ward.
Yeah.
I don't think you can consider Denzel Ward as the best corner in the league, but they paid him like it.
It's a goddamn lockdown corner.
I think he definitely earned the money. He was great. Now it's more so is he is he gonna stay healthy?
Yeah, but I think for the first time in a very, very long time, we have two very good cornerbacks, and we have a really nice depth at corner. I can't say this about any other Browns team of recent history that's had a decent.
You got like 4 or 5 guys that you're comfortable with playing out there.
We used to have one.
I thought Greedy had a good season last year.
But we think 2 years ago we had Kevin Johnson as our second corner. Think about that shit. Yeah. So I'm happy as hell over here having more than 2 guys that we can rely on. I feel comfortable with. So I think overall this Browns team going in right now as it sits, May of 2022, I think this team is better than it was last year. I think it's better than it was the year before his year as well. So I think there's a lot to expect. I think there's a lot to be going on. I think there's still a lot of signings to happen. But with the cap space we have available, we can make it happen. I think this team's going to be one of the best Browns teams we've ever seen.
They have too much cap right now not to make a move.
They have to make a move.
There's just, I'd be very content with them saying hypothetically they bring Clowney back, and then fill in that defensive tackle room. I can live with them not bringing in another receiver, but as far as D tackle and defensive end go, I think those are more needs than receiver.
I say honestly, I say go all out. You got Deshaun Watson on a one. Well, depending on whether the suspension will come, he's only getting paid hit to the salary only $1 million this year. You got 25 million to spend. I say spend that. I say spend it. Get a veteran receiver. Worst case scenario, he just helps the locker room, helps out the young guys. And defensive tackle is a must. Jadeveon Clowney is a must. Get those guys. Call the season and just get ready for it. I think this seems to be really good though. But we will see what the schedule
we
brings.
said that last year. We said it the year before.
Well, we had a really bad quarterback.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching.
Well, Browns.